It is the heart that grows blind, not the eyes. Quran 22:46. Subahul Khair. Good morning, bonjour, kolafia, ekaro, ansuma, tumasum, mimwamachi. You're welcome. Today we're going straight to page 10 of PMP of September 8 to 10, 2003. And the first topic is Share a Thought by Martin Akko Obed. This is one of the people of faith who write to PMP, or who used to write to PMP. Martin Akko Obed. Wherever you are, I say good morning, Akaro, bonjour. Okay, covenants. That's the first topic, covenants. Covenants are statements of understanding that people or parties agree upon to live by. It binds them and demands that all the parties respect the pact. Covenants are made in everyday life and could be grouped into two types: those made between equals and that between an equal. The unequal covenants exist between men and supernatural beings that include God and the other lesser spirits. It can also exist between high authorities like governments and workers, school managers, and students. Breaking of such covenants results in catastrophic consequences on the offending party or person. Paragraph. The scriptures and our own history made mention of unequal covenants between the supreme beings and other ancestors. The Israelites had pacts with God, and their recalcitrance and their recalcitrance and their recalcitrance, and their recalcitrance resulted in many hardships on them, which included being taken into slavery. Being in bondage is common with this type. Is the making of such pacts a thing of the past? Is the question. Go to many shrines, malams, and some churches, and you will marvel, full stop. Unholy alliances are being contracted between false spirits and many unfortunate persons under the pretext of getting good jobs, marriage, children, and wealth. Anointing oils are being used for purposes more ritual than what the fetish priests do. Do we need to pour anointing oil in soups, stores, or doorknobs and money? It's a question. Paragraph. Equal covenants are common among human beings. It is seen between parents and children, lovers and among friends. Employers and their employees sign contracts that contain certain statutes and conditions of service agreed upon by both parties. Breaking of such pacts results in disappointments and pains whose extent is subjective. Full stop. The courts are overburdened with cases that can be attributed to the breaking of covenants. Yes, I agree. In fact, almost all cases, breaking of agreements. Paragraph. The I do's in inverted commas, I do's is an inverted commas and capital letters except the S. The I do's said, the I do's said at wedding ceremonies and many commitments should be from genuine and free heart to facilitate long lasting marriages. God makes provision for everybody before birth, but our insensitivity to the spirit leads us astray. Make covenants with God through Jesus, and your life will not be the same again. It concludes, be blessed. Yes, be blessed is the conclusion. Thank you, Martin Ako Obed, for your advice, for your scriptural and spiritual advice. We go to campus life. You reap what you cultivate. You reap what you cultivate. I believe this is a student telling his own side of that topic, or telling us his experience. Namshi, remember, your only son. Remember, Remember, you are our only son, our pride and hope. Don't forget how hard things were for your dad and I. Yet, we ensured that your school needs were provided, and we're very happy you excelled in the BC. I think this is a mother advising a son or daughter. Yes, a son. Two. Aminu, we will continue to eke out, I would continue to eke out a living to see you through your secondary education. Beware of bad company, let humility, hard work, and prayers be your watchwords, and, and please do excel to make us proud again. Here, it is not hard work, but hand work. I think it's a mistake, maybe a printing error. So let me repeat it. It's not supposed to be handwork, but hard work. So I'll correct it as hard work. Beware of bad company, let humility, hard work, and prayers be your watchwords. And please do excel to make us proud again. Paragraph. I was deeply touched by these pieces of advice from my mother as she packed the provisions into my trunk. Full stop. I sat pensively, burying my face in my palms, reflecting on how my parents toiled to see me through the JSS. Children. Okay. Let's see if you'll be influenced by bad friends. Uh, I left for school the next day as sober as a judge, with mom's words still fresh in my mind. I sat up, I sat up throughout my maiden night in school, praying for God's guidance and to complete the SSS course successfully. I made a resolution that I must succeed or die as a book martyr. I must succeed or die as a good martyr. Paragraph. Throughout my first year, pardon me, throughout my first year, I kept religiously to mom's counsel and my resolutions. I was humble, obedient, respectful, and dutiful. Full stop. Like all other first years, I had a father to serve, Eventually, I became the son of almost all the seniors who fathered the first years. Into brackets, Ninos. Ninos spelled Ninos. Ninos, first years. Okay. Paragraph. I washed and ironed their clothes, fetched them water, and carried their plates to and from the dining hall. Full stop. My services became more my services became more invaluable when I started waking them up to study. Hey, full stop. While gaining popularity and admiration from the seniors, I became faceless. In fact, a social parish among my mates who were not happy about it. This, however, did not stop me from rendering my indispensable services to my fathers in inverted commas. It was then that I realized that society will talk about you irrespective of what you do. So I did not give a damn to their sayings. A damn is in inverted commas. My parents were proud of me because I excelled in all examinations. Their words actually motivated me to learn. My efforts paid off when I swept several awards in the school's speech and prize giving day in my last year. I surprised many tutors and students by the achievement. It was that day I won. It was that day I won the nickname Petite or Petit. Well, it's a French word, Petite, in bracket commas. The smallest students in the school, the smallest student in the school. Yes, petite means small. For those who don't know. Paragraph. The occasion unfortunately marked the beginning of my problems in the school. I plethora, received plethora of scholarships. So I received a plethora of scholarships from the ladies. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. The situation became unbearable when their advances made it impossible for me to learn. This was just the tip of the iceberg. Yes, you can trust women. Women don't like losers. Eh? They love achievers. Hmm? Okay, maybe men too. Everybody needs the best. Everybody's attracted to the best. Hmm? So repeat the last sentence. This was just the tip of the iceberg. Then, paragraph. Rita, 1 year ahead of me, swore never to give me peace of mind. She had rejected the proposals of Ahmed Murtal, the assistant senior prefect, ASP, in bracket, in an in an insulting, snobbery manner. In an insulting, snobbery manner. Though I had good relationship with the seniors, Ahmed had his schemes against me. Mhm. Ahmed has a scheme against me, something I least suspected of him. After all, it was Rita who fluttered her eyelashes at me. Hmm. Okay. In fact, Rita was strikingly petty. I don't know if it wants to say pretty. There is no R anyway. Well, okay, it's petty. Rita was strikingly petty. Okay, petty too can be a word. Yes, petty too can make good meaning. Rita was strikingly petty, a blonde bombshell who would not even accept the advice of tutors, who would not even accept the advances of tutors. Into brackets, it was rumored. So it was rumored that Rita wouldn't accept the advances of tutors. It was the same girl who has fallen head over heels in love with me, a small, innocent boy. A small, innocent boy. Hmm? That's for his achievements. Those who didn't have that kind of achievement were rather free. Didn't have such troubles from women. Okay. Paragraph. Adam's plans to get me in his trap did not materialize one Monday when he came until one Monday when he got the slimmest opportunity to settle scores with me. He spotted three of us hurrying to the assembly hall. The headmaster and the entire staff attended Monday's assembly, so it was compulsory for all students who stopped. Convinced that we were late, he shouted, "Hey, stop!" Oh, master, people. Say, "Hey, stop! Why are you late?" "Mhm. Don't you know today is Monday?" He bellowed. He pulled me like a tethered goat behind the dormitory and gave me a fine morning devotion in inverted commas, with my own belts until it got torn into two. Later, he pardoned the rest. Look at that. Look at that. Because of a school girl who is supposed to be your student. Hmm? Oh, God. Well, we've faced such things before. Hmm? And then later pardoned the rest, but gave him morning devotion. I mean, belted him well with his own belt, removed the student's belt and give it to him well. Then the others he pardoned. The others he pardoned because of Rita. Hmm? Okay. Paragraph. That was around one. Oh, sorry. That was round one. I'm sorry. That's my own mistake. That was round one. Round two was an order to me, to drain a pit just behind the dining hall, a location anyone in the hall could see me. He was happy getting me his supposed rival. He was happy getting me, dash, his supposed rival. And where was Rita by then? Rita should have come to stay by you working. Eh? Paragraph. He called all the girls. He called all the girls in his capacity as the ASP, Assistant Senior Prophet, to the dining hall. Rita and a few other girls were from very rich homes and were hardly seen in the hall. They were there because of the order. Even then, they only listened to the announcements, not for food. So Rita was rich and her friends went to the dining hall, not because they were hungry or not because they needed food, but just because they were asked to go there to listen to an announcement or two. Hmm? Listen to the announcements, not for food. The ASP was smartly dressed and filled with pride for having succeeded in his schemes, more so when he saw Rita in the hall. Abba! Uh, Assistant Senior Prophet, sorry. Ahmed was a prophet, not a teacher. I'm sorry, not a tutor. Paragraph. Not satisfied with that, he ordered me to mount a table. Just when I was about to be bashed, the tutor on duty entered the hall. He saw me sobbing in tears. The hall was quiet, and he could not stand the scene and reported the ASP to the disciplinary committee. He was found guilty and was soon to face the wrath of the committee for abusing his office. Mhm. God is intervening on behalf of Who is the writer even? Okay, on behalf of Seydou Aminu. Hmm? Seydou Aminu. Okay, abusing his office. In fact, that was the third time of losing a case before the committee. Full stop. He had earlier on set the genitals of a junior on a stove for failing to fetch him water, among others. Look at that. Eh? Look at that. Are you trying to render him infertile? Hmm? Let me repeat that. He had earlier on set the genitals of a junior on a stove for failing to fetch him water, among others. Full stop. So his punishment this time was a withdrawal from the boarding house and a 2 week suspension from classes with labor. Full stop. The ASP was finally out of the campus. The ASP was finally out of campus. But did that give me peace? No, not when his cronies were still on campus. It was as, it was as if I killed a queen in a swarm of bees. But for the timely and decisive intervention of the school authorities, a different story would have been told. Paragraph. My mom's words had transformed me into a resilient person, and I took my form as soon as the storms had calmed down. My performance steadily improved. My performance steadily improved, as I had extra classes. Ahmed and his allies completed, and Rita's efforts became abortive in her eye-flattering crusade. Full stop. I was too focused, too determined, and too resolved to be caught by her snares. She sadly gave up and completed her course in disappointment. Hooray, hooray to Sidu. Hmm? I became recognized in my final year for my conduct and academic excellence. I was respected and served even better than I did to my fathers in the first year. Thus, I was made the school's senior prophet. I enjoyed a lot of privileges in the school. I lived a kindly life. I lived a kindly life, basking in the love and care of my sons and the school authorities. I used all available opportunity to my advantage, learning. I had a scholarship from a resident Cuban doctor to study in the UK after excelling in my final exams. Full stop. The joy of my parents, school, and friends was indescribable. I recounted how many parents' words I recounted how my parents' words spurred me on to achieving my aim. You've reaped what you cultivated, were my dad's congratulatory words. As it is said, good name never dies. My success stories are still being told in the school. Isn't it a splendid one? Indeed, it is. To God be the glory. Yes, thank you for your story, Seydou Aminu, wherever you are now. Of course, you may be in your 40s or your 50s now, at least, maybe more. Mm. So thank you once again. Let's go to the last part, last third of the paper. And we have, uh, she stole my heart and love. Oh, she stole my heart and love. Two things that nobody can retrieve except the thief. When the thief takes them back, fine. But often, no, they are not returnable. When hearts and when loves, hearts and loves are stolen, they are not returnable. Hmm? All right, let's see. Who is the writer? By God's favor, Arimo. The story was written by God's favor, Arimo. Um, she stole my heart and love. Letitia and I met for the first time in 1992. We were both 7 years old then. By that time, she had just come back from Kumasi, where she had been schooling all her life. Did I say 7 or 70? Yes, it's 7. It's 7. We were both 7 years. Yes, mm, it's 7. From Kumasi, where she had been schooling all her life. She was in my school to register for the SSS exams that year. No, I think the age is wrong. It should have been 17. We're both 17 because you couldn't write SSC at 7. Anyway, let's continue. It wasn't too long that we became friends, and within months, the relationship had become very strong. We read together, ate together, and exchanged views on personal and academic matters. Letitia introduced me to her family, and I did the same. Paragraph. The spirit of friendship carried us through our examination. The result came out later, and we both performed brilliantly. I chose to study accounting in the Polytechnic Accra, while Letitia selected nursing profession. It took both of us about 3 years to complete the accounting and nursing programs, respectively. Respectively being my word, anyway. An accounting firm employed me in Accra, while Letitia got an appointment offer by a private clinic in town. All along, the friendship became as all along, the friendship between us waxed stronger and stronger. We did not miss each other for a week. She was in everything I did, and I did nothing without her knowledge. I considered her the custodian of my secrets, and I thought I was only one, and I thought I was the only one who knew most of her personal affairs. When I met Theophilus for the first time, Letitia was the first person I informed. She encouraged me to accept Theophilus. She encouraged me to accept Theophilus' proposal, as Ken, my boyfriend, was then being difficult. I can't understand this. Okay, maybe viewers can understand it better than me. Hmm. Let me take the whole paragraph again. When I met Theophilus for the first time, Letitia was the first person I informed, full stop. She encouraged me to accept Theophilus' proposal as Ken, my boyfriend, was then being difficult. I don't know if the writer is a woman or a man. Anyway, let's go. Theophilus and I met at a wedding reception where I was one of the ushers. Where I was one of the ushers. Full stop. It was there that Theophilus spotted me, as he later confessed. Full stop. The following Monday, he was in my office. I suppose we I suppose we had I suppose he had inquired about me from a friend. From a friend. Paragraph. He introduced himself as, "I am Dr. Theophilus Frankenson of University Teaching Hospital, Accra," in inverted commas. Stunned by his strange appearance, I managed to reply in inverted commas, "It's pleasant meeting you. It's pleasant meeting you." Mm. Then he went ahead with his mission, a subject we ladies like most. Yes, I think the writer is a lady. Mm, mm. As he reels off his message and desires, as he reeled off his message and desires, I stole a glance at him carefully. He was tall, muscular, healthy, and vigorous. I was in firm control of his highly ornamented words and expressions. He's the right guy for me. Theophilus is worthy is Theophilus is a worthy grab for me, I said in my head. I was happy meeting him. I asked him to call at the office on Friday, which he did as arranged. Paragraph. For months, we went on quite well. We really had a nice time partying, watching movies, etc. I sometimes slept in his flat and prepared food for him. I did all this thinking. I did all this thinking we would be man and wife in future. A year later, I was transferred to Kofredua, but I was going to Accra almost every weekend to chill out with Theophilus. One weekend, I couldn't go to Accra because I wasn't well. So I visited one of my friends in Kofredua. In Kofredua. She was watching a video clip of a recent wedding, so I joined them to watch. Theophilus and Letitia, clad in similar clothes. I screamed. Oh, I screamed. Hmm. Life, life is difficult. Theophilus had told me that he would travel home to see his parents in Kumasi and stay over the weekend, which I believed him. I borrowed the film for 2 days. I borrowed the film for 2 days, requested for a 2 day leave, which was approved, and within hours I was in Accra. Paragraph. Armed with the videotape, I went straight to Theophilus's house. I knocked and he opened the door. There he was, standing before me, clad in towel. Oh, he stood stuck still. He stood stuck still in amazement. We exchanged cool pleasantries, and I went straight to the living room. I saw Letitia on his bed, naked, with a copy of the Hints magazine in her hand. Hints is in inverted commas and is spelled Hints. A copy of the Hints magazine in his hand. At an instant, she stared round in wonder. I gasped in astonishment. My heart knocked against my ribs. Oh, silence yawned between the three of us. Of course, there will be silence, mhm, except them talking in their heads, the trio. Mhm. Silence yawned between the three of us. As I survived round in wonder, my eyes caught a medical report of a pregnancy test that Letitia obtained that morning. The name on it was Letitia Frankinson. The test confirmed that she was carrying a 6-month-old pregnancy. Hmm. At the moment, my blood froze in my veins, blocking the movement of blood. Eh? I don't know. Oh God. Theophilus, Letitia, I shouted repeatedly. In other words, she said, Theophilus, Letitia, Theophilus, Letitia, Theophilus, Letitia. That's what this means. Hmm? Okay. I shouted repeatedly. Suddenly, my eyes were filled with tears, and I left the house. The lady I vowed not to trust. That day, I vowed not to trust people again. In other words, she stole, Letitia stole the boyfriend of God's favor, Aremo. Aremo confided in Letitia that she has found a man called uh, Franklin, if I'm right. Letitia advised her to give her a green light, then went round and took Franklin as a boy. It happens. Such is life. So that is a sign. That's why I keep on saying these are signs in the Quran. Hmm? It's nice sign in the paper, but it's also in the Quran and in the Bible, in all the holy books. Don't trust mankind. Trust only God. You can see that my title is always Science in the Quran, Science in the Quran, even though it's supposed to be science in the papers. They are not different from science in the Quran. Mhm. Very sad story. Okay, my deepest regret, I was a victim. And the writer here is by Stephen Akwesi in Cancer. Stephen Akwesi in Cancer. My deepest regret, I was a victim. It's the 9th of May. It is. It's the 9th of May 2001. And in some few hours' time, we will be witnessing the most dreadful and titanic encounter between the nation's top two teams in the Premier League. Accra, Accra based has Accra based House of Oak and defending champions of the year 2000 Premier League, and Kumasi based Asante Kotoko. Let me take that again. It's clumsy reading. Accra-based House of Oak, the defending champions of the year 2000 Premier League, and Kumasi-based Asante Kotoko. Full stop. This will bring together thousands of football fans across the nations to witness the great encounter. These were the words on most of the radio stations across the nation before the match between Hearts and Kotoko began. Paragraph. Days before the 9th of May, I had saved enough money just to witness that great match. Wednesday, the 9th of May, I left home early in the morning and went to school. At about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I ran from school to the stadium. I went that early to avoid being in the queue just to buy a ticket to watch the match. The match began around 4 p.m. and everything was going on well. And everything was going on. Oh, I've lost my bearing. The match began around 4 p.m. and everything was going on well, my even though my side, thus my team was down, own with my own with one goal. Some few minutes to the end, some few minutes to the end. Oh, what is this? Some few minutes to the end the match. Okay, let me correct it. Some few minutes to the end of the match. Off is my own word. My team scored 2 goals to jump into the lead on the scoreboard. I was baptized with so much joy to see my team, after being down for some time, to come up with two goals. Little did I know disaster was about to strike. I rather shouted and jubilated. I rather shouted and jubilated on and on and on. I rather shout I rather shouted and jubilated on and on and on. Unfortunately, unfortunately, there was a disagreement between the fans and the officials. This brought about a disaster which has the which has the will. This brought about a disaster which has and will make me a disabled person for life. Oh God. I thank God very much that I didn't die. I regret running away from school to end up being disabled. Yet still, I hope I can walk for some time before I die. Oh my God. Very sad story. Very, very sad. If I had stayed in school and learned what my teacher had for me, I would have ended up, I wouldn't have ended up losing my legs through the stampede by Stephen Akwesi in cancer. A sad story. I remember the incident 2000, and in the radio station we were told how telephones were ringing in people's pockets. I mean, dead people, and nobody could pick them up. And that time, the phone, during those days, phones were very difficult to come by. They were very costly. Cheap phones were selling for 200 cities and so 2 million. A very sad story. So, Akwesi in cancer, may God be with you and may God lift you up in spirit. May God give you the strength to cope with life and to succeed in life like a normal person. Mhm. Our prayers are with you. And to listeners, thank you very much. Ilaleka, bye bye. Au revoir.